Guys, oh, welcome. Tony Katz. Good to be with you. We got ourselves a show today. That is the Buffalo. Come on, show it. Do it. Oh, man. Well, I did change the camera. This is the Buffalo 10. Probably pound for pound, the best value stick out there from Artista Cigars. Huge fan. Huge fan, especially if you want to be I think, under $7, which is hard to do these days. Welcome to the show. The show's called Tony Katz Today. Let's begin. Another day, another assault of ICE officers. I mean, this is now standard operating procedure for the political left. You have in California, Camarillo, the story of this cannabis farm that was raided, warrants. And you're like, well, cannabis farm, they're growing weed. That's the problem. Well, it's California and it might be legal depending on areas, etc. I don't claim an expertise there. But the farmers started fighting back. And then people learned that this was happening. You know, they've got groups out there saying, oh, there's a raid here. There's something going on here. Attack ICE officers here. Go after federal agents there. This is what they're doing. They're coordinating the attacks on federal agents. And the progressive left is like, what's the problem? We don't see a problem. Do you see a problem? We don't see a problem. They're fine with this. They're fine with this, and they go out there and say, what we need are more efforts that will support these illegal immigrants. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. This was Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for recalling that tradition. You were a young child. I wasn't. But I remember Father Olivares very well and remember that movement, and that movement continues today and is
most relatable when your home is burning down. That's when Karen Bass is the most relatable.
Represented by the people who are standing here with me. So the organizations that are represented, and some you will hear speak today, CHIRLA, the Salvadorian American Leadership and Educational Fund, the Asian Pacific Islander Equity Alliance, Community Coalition, Inclusive Action, and SEIU USWW.
Every single group she mentions, a group against the existence of Western civilization. We're not interested in having this debate. We're only interested in honestly addressing the issue. CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, it is their information that was found. That it's CHIRLA who is amongst the groups working aggressively to stop immigrations and customs enforcement from doing their job. And it is people like Karen Bass, the trained communist, the Castro lover, working to help them succeed and to ensure America's failure. We should not present this in any other light. The objective is the destruction of Western civilization. I will get to that. I will get more into that. But what is happening is pure violence. You see in Alvarado, Texas, ICE agents being shot at. You now have somebody on a most wanted list. There is a manhunt underway, a $25,000 reward that may have gone up for information regarding this 11th person who was involved. 10 people were arrested, a shooting, firing at ICE agents. You certainly have what you saw in Camarillo, where you've got the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, saying, Donald Trump calls me Gavin Newscum, but it's Trump who's total scum. Why are you protecting this farm? Right now, as we speak, we know of 10 children that were there. 8 of them were unaccompanied, meaning that 8 children were working as slave labor on this farm. Why in the world is the political left okay with that? And be clear, this is now Gavin Newsom's entire campaign. Vote Gavin Newsom and get yourself some good slave labor. He can't run away from it. He can try, but this is him. This is what Gavin Newsom is saying. I can't believe they're going after this simple farm and these good people, and these good people engaged slave labor. Of course we should break this up. Of course we shouldn't allow these people any of our love, any decency. My gosh, they're totally undeserving. And we have to ensure this in elections. But understand how radical these people are. Here's the View.
The way that I think if you're somebody who's really disturbed by things like alligator Alcatraz and feels like the targeting of certain migrants is making you really uncomfortable, call your lawmaker, because what I am seeing is an uptick in rhetoric against CBP and ICE enforcers who are dealing with this problem because they're being told by the president of the United States that they have to. And then this past week, there was a very dangerous attack on CBP officials in McAllen, Texas. Several people were injured. The perpetrator was actually neutralized. But that's also something we don't want to see, is an uptick in violence against law enforcement who are doing their jobs. So if you have a problem with this, talk to your lawmaker. That's the
Now, that's Alyssa Farah saying we don't want the violence, talk to your lawmaker. A legitimate argument. Sonny Hostin.
place.
If they would do their jobs the way that I think they should be doing their jobs, which is unmasked without disappearing people from the streets, I don't think that the public would feel as endangered. Because if someone approaches my loved one who's undocumented with a mask, how do I know that they're actual law enforcement? How do I know that they work for ICE? So that's one thing I'll say.
Is that the one thing you're saying, Sonny Hostin? Understand if these guys were unmasked, just like they're running databases to know where these raids are happening and sending out their brute forces to engage attacks against law enforcement, you would find out who these people are. You would find where they lived. You would dox them. You'd go to their house and someone would try and kill them. Sonny Hostin, that's what's going to happen. Why is it that, in my view, you favor such a thing? That's what you're saying. What makes you think they're not law enforcement? And what is this idea about disappearing? Again, you can't even engage in argument with rationality. It's a lie. No one's being disappeared when federal immigration officials show up to a farm with a warrant. Who's being disappeared at that moment? This is not communist China. And I don't want to hear about your masking. As many people have mentioned, there you were through COVID wearing a mask at every George Floyd rally you could. Now all of a sudden, this is law enforcement and it's different. If they took off the masks, you and your party would try and kill them. And I know this because Trump wasn't wearing a mask and you tried to kill him. And Steve Scalise wasn't wearing a mask and you tried to kill him. What an argument being made. But Sonny Hostin ain't done.
There's actually people who have impersonated ICE officers.
But do they show an ID? They don't show IDs. No. They're not dressed appropriately. They're not flagged, and they're masked. And so in my world, if you mask yourself because you don't want to be seen, because there will be a reckoning for some of the actions that actual law enforcement have done. But I'll also say this, I don't want to hear anything ever in this country again about not being able to house people, not being able to, no affordable housing, because they put this thing up in 8 days. 8 days. So where there is a will, there's a way. There is a way.
You're talking about alligator Alcatraz? It's a tent with air conditioning. This is... You gotta love that progressive turn. You can't wear a mask. ICE is wrong, and oh, by the way, everybody should get a house. If you're gonna commie all the way. But this was a conversation about violence, excused violence, desired violence. That is where we're at. We have this clear understanding that the people attacking ICE agents are emboldened. supported, protected. This is Karen Bass signing an executive order. They're setting up the chair. They got the table. Oh, look, she's sitting down. Got all these people around her, and she's going to sign the executive order. And what does the executive order from the mayor of Los Angeles do? Supports illegal immigrants. Now, they don't say it like that. They say immigrant support. That's how they put it. Wow. So proud of what they're doing. They support the violence. They support the attacks. They support the idea that somehow it is wrong to be a nation of laws. This is, of course, part of the heart of the matter. We are not a nation of men. We are a nation of laws. It is the fundamental difference. The concept in and of itself, so absolutely revolutionary at the time, that laws are derived from the people, from the governed, not from somebody who wears a crown. It's a remarkable concept. If we're a nation of laws, there are rules and regulations, and if broken, there have to be consequences. What the left is saying is why? Why should there be consequences? No, there should only be consequences when you break the law, not when the law is broken. Yesterday, we spoke to Ed Morrissey of hotair.com, and we were discussing Harry Reid. Harry Reid was a disgusting senator, a lowlife of a human being, and that any airport is named after him or anything else is horrible. He is not a great figure in American history. He was a disgusting person. I bring up how he said to Mitt Romney when Mitt Romney was running for president, Mitt Romney doesn't pay his taxes. And when I was asked about it, he goes, don't ask me, ask Mitt Romney. And then later in his life, just before his death, he said, maybe that wasn't the nicest thing to do, but we won, didn't we? There's no amount of scumbag that isn't Harry Reid. That idea, we won, didn't we? The ends justify the means, is the great excusing. But it would be about doing things, one could argue, that actually put you in a winning situation. What here puts them in a winning situation? What is it about this maneuver, about supporting the attack on ICE agents, about supporting the attack on federal officials, about shooting at federal officials, excusing it with these executive orders and everything else? What is the win here? Who's the voter? Who are you getting when you're saying we shouldn't apply the law equally? Who do you get? My father, rest his soul, used to say, the guy you don't have to fear is the guy who screws you in a business deal, blanks you over on a business deal. You can almost see it. You can understand it. There was something in it for him. The guy who will screw you over for nothing at all other than the ability to screw you over. We now have a progressive party that is not making moves, as despicable as they may be, a la Harry Reid, to get a victory. They're doing it for an ideology that cannot allow a nation to continue. That's dangerous. And it is up to us on November 3rd, 2026, in the midterm. I keep talking about it. And certainly the Trump administration now to make the moves now to further enforce these laws and to protect these ICE agents and federal agents who are lawfully doing the work we ask them to do. It doesn't get better from here, and that is part of the theme of the day. It's not a great message for a Friday, but it is the truth. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. very weird. My camera flipped out. Guys, good to be with you. Oh my goodness gracious. I almost I feel like I'm on a bit of a bender today, in that so much of this news story seems to, or today's news day seems to be a bit repetitive. And I don't ever want to be repetitive. There's a lot of things to get to, but on this subject, I am just nonstop on this. And I feel like there's like 9 different angles to get to in it. And so sometimes I feel like it's a little bit repetitive. So I apologize if that's the case. I'm not trying to be repetitive at all. I do have the audio now from Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh, I think that's going into the audio dump. Oh, I have such a ridiculous audio dump for today. Oh, fantastic stuff. Also, don't forget to head on over to Flederman Von Reest. Look at that right there. You see, see, we changed the camera, so it changes everything. This is what they call the Munchner, the small seconds right there. This is in the black. Fantastic timepiece. So this is a Swiss Mechanical, assembled right here in Indiana. You want to go to Von Reest, RIESTE. Go to vonreest.com. Use promo code CATS and get your discount. Absolutely love it. Just thought it matched today. Yeah, I didn't go with the logo stuff. I've got new logo shirts on the way. Smaller logo. We're going to see how they look. And then, say goodbye to this. We're turning the whole thing around this weekend. Quite literally opening up the studio, so it's no longer the smaller spot. You're going to see the whole thing. Everything that I built over the last year, you're going to see it all. So say goodbye to Hollywood. Say goodbye to my baby. Let's get back to the show.
The current makeup of the court means that you are sometimes.
Well, first of all, just in terms of the sheer mechanics, there are 9 justices on the court.
I'm going to have to upgrade that audio. I thought it was fine. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, is speaking in my beloved Indianapolis. And my gosh, everything we've said about her, 100% factual. This is not somebody who even cares that the Constitution exists. You know what matters more? Her feelings. That's right. Her feelings. I've got that for you. Just wait for the audio dump, the Friday audio dump coming up in the next hour. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. The DOJ putting out subpoenas. By the way, I'm hearing some really interesting rumors about the DOJ. I'm talking about real interesting rumors. Like resignation rumors. Like people unhappy with what just happened with the Epstein files rumors. And for the record, I said there's nothing I can do about it. But President Trump must understand by now that Pam Bondi screwed this up. He screwed this up with his statement. Are we still talking about Epstein? Yeah, screwed it up. And the people who wanted to say, there's no there's nothing here, this doesn't matter, this doesn't rank, they were all on the political right. Trump wanted you to forget about it, so therefore they were going to say it. Man, they all look silly, and a lot of them are radio guys. You guys look silly. You took a look at your audience and you said, Trump told me to tell you to stop talking about this, so you stop talking about this. Don't lecture at an audience. They're grown-ups. They make their own decisions. Did you learn nothing from Bill Kristol? Holy cow. We watched it happen in real time, and you heard me say, I can't believe they're doing this. Some people go back to the DOJ, where they are subpoenaing more than 20 gender-affirming care doctors. Remember, gender-affirming care was the term they used for mutilation. You're talking about taking healthy children, preying on their mental weakness or on their other mental issues. And you said, well, what would really help is if we completely mutilated your body and called you a girl when you're not a girl. And they said, oh, that sounds okay. And you specifically went after kids with autism, and you did this. And you did it under the guise of, well, if we don't do this, these children are going to kill themselves. We have to do this so that we can save their lives. Sick, twisted, throw you in jail. So the Justice Department sent out more than 20 subpoenas to doctors and clinics performing gender-affirming care. By the way, it's the producer Landon looked this up. It's in Los Angeles Children's Hospital of LA, where we're so proud of the work we've done. And we're so proud to have helped all of these children, find their true selves. We have to close. Good. Any hospital that mutilates children is not a hospital to go to, and is not a hospital that should get any money. None. Less than none. Medical professionals and organizations that mutilate children in the service of a warped ideology will be held accountable by this Justice Department, that according to Pam Bondi. So you already have the Supreme Court upholding the law in Tennessee that restricts access to quote-unquote gender-affirming care. It's not gender-affirming care. We'll no longer call it that. We shouldn't. Just a reminder. Restricting access to mutilating minors. Right? They don't allow that. This is good. And when they say, well, the doctors say it's healthy, I don't listen to every doctor. When a doctor says mutilation is healthy, that's a doctor I don't listen to. That's a doctor. You know what? We're going to get a second opinion from society, and society says, you can't do that to children. Thank you. Have a nice day. Because you can't do that to children. So I'm happy for these subpoenas, and I want to see more of this. That's what we need. Until simply this is not allowed in any state in the union. No, not Minnesota. No, not California. No, not New York. And these are not good places, not Massachusetts. This is where the warped are allowed to be warped. And if you want to mutilate children, you're warped, and we should stop you. Good on the DOJ, at least on this. This is Tony Katz today. All right, so I got it right. Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. What are you in the chat, Landon? Oh. Maybe a laptop, maybe your phone. That's what I would do. All right. I've got the Canadian tariffs, which, there used to be a time where something like that would be news. I got this. Trump is on his way to Texas. He's going to be looking at the flood damage. So I don't know when he's going to speak. If he does, if I'm on, I'll break into that. No problem there. If you've got questions, I have got answers. For sure. Oh, gosh. Look at all the comments. My God. It's called the Buffalo 10. That's what I'm smoking from Artista Cigars. So it's a box press, 6-inch by, what is that, a 50? A 6 by 50? You're talking about a cigar. How much do these go for? Because I buy them by the bundle. And this is a Maduro right here. Let's see what these are going for right now. 6 by 50. I was right. So a bundle. How many are in a bundle? 20. So a bundle is $110. So $5.50 a stick. At $5.50 a stick, incredible. I mean, you understand. My humidor is loaded with $30 cigars, $50 cigars. I smoke some really good stuff, but you're not doing that every day. especially during the show when I have to put it down and then sometimes it gets plugged up and I don't get back to it. And then, so I want something at a cost that makes sense. And this cigar at this price point, I put it in my top 3 at that in terms of value sticks. This. Oh God. Yeah. Let's call it a top 5 list. Cause why not? I think La Galera has some very good cost-effective options. The pound for pound best cigar, I think, for the price in terms of size of smoke, Arturo Fuente, the Hemingway Masterpiece Maduro. That is it's an 8.5 inch cigar, and it's like $22. That's 3 hours. That's crazy. Crazy how good that is. But give it the time. If you don't have 3 hours, don't. Absolutely, positively, do not do it. Let's get back to the show, shall we? I will stand by when I'm good and ready. You'd be telling me I got to stand by. Wow.
You know, something that you should have that you haven't reported. As you know, 300,000 children are missing, right? 300,000 under Biden. We've already gotten back 10,000 of those children, and we have a lot more planned to come back. We're getting them back by the thousands, but 300,000, and we've, as of this morning, over 10,000 we've gotten back.
It is an impressive number. 10,000 children have been found in 6 months. But 290,000 children are unaccounted for. And that all happened in the Biden administration. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Don't forget. Remember this going into November 2026, which I simply can't say it enough. By the way, that rumor that I'm hearing, I'm starting to hear it more and more. People are now talking about it on the socials. Should I be doing some rumor mongering? I'm not really a rumor guy. I'm not, but I will do it. So here is right now the rumor that's out there. The rumor is Dan Bongino quit. The rumor says that Dan Bongino is so disgusted with Pam Bondi for how she handled everything with the Epstein files that there was a conversation. He was angry. Remember, it's the deputy director of the FBI. It's not a small position. They release all of this video of Jeffrey Epstein's cell, and it turns out there's a minute missing, and you're like, please, did you did anybody actually think that you could release a video showing Jeffrey Epstein's cell, the door, and people weren't going to watch all 10 hours? It could have been 182 hours. They would watch all 182 hours. Breathe, Tony. No. No getting crazy. No. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna take a breath. We're gonna take a beat. We're gonna play some of our relaxing music. Oh. Anytime I get too worked up, I play the theme to Taxi, which is called Angela's theme. That's the name of the song. I just relax. Let it flow. Showing Jeffrey Epstein's cell in a minute is missing, and somehow there were people who thought no one would notice. I'm all better now. Unbelievable. So the rumor was that Bongino said, you know what? To hell with you. I'm out. I'm not going to be a part of this. So there's this conversation that they had it out. It didn't go well. Now this falls into another rumor. I should just reach out to him right now and be like, dude, this falls into another rumor. Now this is more of a radio rumor. And the radio rumor was always that this move from Bongino, and I would even say to him, when he says, I gave up a lot and I gave up radio success and this, that, and the other. Dude, you made a decision. I please don't tell me you're pious. You decide to do a thing, right? I'm just saying, good for you. Congratulations on the opportunity. Go get them, make it happen. But please don't tell me how great you are because you decided to make a decision. We're grown-ups. We make decisions in this world. You decided you'd give this up to try that thing. Cool. I leave it there. The rumor always was that this wasn't going to be 4 years. This was going to be a year and a half, something like that, and then he was going to return to his video work and other things. And I always was like, yeah, that probably makes sense. I could see him doing that. I don't know him that well, but I could see him. I could see him doing that. So as for the rumor about the fight, I had gotten that earlier, and now I'm seeing people talk about it. It is very, very possible that took place. And the story is that he took the day off. He didn't show up to work today. Axios is now reporting on this. A whole host of places now are all over it. So with that comes a very interesting argument, which is, what if he did? Right? I'm not usually a guy who speaks in rumors, and I had no plans of discussing Epstein at all. There was no reason to. You know exactly where I am on it, and I left it there. But let's walk down the path. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. I want to walk down a path, walk down a theory, which is, let's say he did. Let's say we soon get an announcement that he has stepped down. Do you know how absolutely devastating that is for President Trump? It's an incredible thing, because it would be saying, yeah, everything that we were told by the people we voted in to do the thing we wanted to do, turns out they're not going to do it. They're just like everybody else. It is the codifying of that. And MAGAville breaks. Are we even questioning whether that happens? MAGAville breaks. The people who said, well, Trump said don't talk about this, so we're not going to talk about it, as I was discussing earlier. Weirdest thing in the world. Weirdest thing in the world. This is actually a bigger story than, for example, Trump putting a 35% tariff on Canada, which he has. We are now to the point in the tariff conversation where 35% tariffs on Canada are old hat. And not only is it a 35% tariff, if they should respond with a tariff, then our tariffs will be 35% on top of whatever it is they respond with. The markets, they were not thrilled. They started in the futures market down 200. The market's been down over 300 today. Who knows where it's going to end? But it's been through that. The market went through all the tariff talk and ended up with a close at its highest point yesterday. So the market's going to for a day be like, oh, dang, this is back. And then they're going to move on. But there's no longer an, oh my gosh, what's happening? No one actually knows what's happening. Tariffs are being utilized as a political tool. That's what's happening. And the only thing that is being benefit or that is benefit to President Trump right now to allow him to keep going is that inflation has not gone up, which is why he wants Jerome Powell to lower the interest rates. As a matter of fact, Senator Bernie Morello of Ohio is all over this. And what he wants is for Powell to resign. And he has got the long knives out. And the statement is clearly your relationship with the president, your inaction on rates, and your mismanagement of the Federal Reserve balance sheet all led to an obvious conclusion. You should resign immediately and allow the president the deference to select someone he feels can make the changes needed to restore credibility of the Federal Reserve System. Talking about Jerome Powell saying, hey, your willful ignorance of these facts and your choice not to lower interest rates despite the Trump administration's economic progress is costing our country $400 billion per year. Yeah, I'm saying that as we have been saying, the long knives are certainly out and more people are jumping in to try and push him out, whether it's currying favor with President Trump or maybe they truly believe it. Moreno's not the only one. Tommy Tuberville, I never get it right, of Alabama. Rick Scott of Florida have also called on Jerome Powell to step aside. The tariffs, the 35%, are not going to put an end to anything. They could go away as soon as they were implemented. As a matter of fact, the people at MSNBC wanted to make a little bit of hay out of this.
Jen, we have some breaking Trump illegal and unconstitutional tariff news. During your hour, Donald Trump decided that Canada, for no sane reason, should now be hit, all goods coming from Canada, with an additional 35% tariff. And this is one of the many that Donald Trump, according to these letters he's sending around to different countries, will, as he threatens, start on August 1st. So that gives Donald Trump about 20 days to cave on this and to become, the Donald Trump, the Trump always chickens out guy, the taco guy that Wall Street believes he is.
No. Those days are over when he engaged the bombing of Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordo. The whole taco Trump always chickens out thing is over. As for the tariffs, of course he could pull these back in 20 days. That's the whole point. The tariff is nothing more than tactic. No, I'm not a fan. I don't like any part of it. It increased costs. But we're getting billions of dollars into the Treasury. They are our dollars. And I don't want to put them into the Treasury. I want to be able to get more for my dollar. What can I say? I'm just, all sorts of selfish like that. It's my dollar. I earned it. I want to spend it my way, not on a fakakta tariff. The only thing that's been working for Trump on this is that inflation hasn't gone up. And there hasn't been any additional inflation. Now, will he change this on Canada? Yes. And why did he do this? He's saying fentanyl. You haven't done enough on fentanyl. You got to do more. You got to keep from coming across the border. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't know if that means a financial investment into something. I don't know if that means more manpower from Canada. Not quite sure how how you prove it. But just like we're seeing in Canada, you're also seeing this with Bolsonaro. The tariffs with Bolsonaro, where Trump is saying, you're putting this guy on trial, Brazil. This is absolutely wrong. I'm going to put a 50% tariff on you. You got to stop this. You can't allow this to happen. It's unfair. So because of that, we're going to add the tariff and our unfair trade relationship. Now, I don't think people are used to tariffs being utilized in this way. So brazenly. But tariffs are a political tool. And he is certainly using them in a political way. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry, I was making deals. I don't know what it is. I assume it's the whole Friday thing, and one of the worst things that happens. And I'm real since the very beginning of my career, very very opposed to this. Very often, a radio host at the end of the show kind of like wraps it up, and I always thought that was wrong because someone may just be tuning in. So you hit everything as you should, right? You're talking about topics, you're talking about things. Don't be like, well, that was fun, and now I'm going to go do that, right? But I feel very like usually like, okay, I know I'm coming in with this. I know I want to talk about that. I'm pretty structured. Today, I just feel all sorts of loosey goosey. So I hope that's all right. Also, in other news, for those we do the live events going on. We what was that, producer Landon? Okay, we do the bourbon events here, and I would love to bring them to your city. Absolutely, I'd come to your city and do them unquestionably. The original plan was do one in the summer and do one in the fall. And then the arm thing, I thought, all right, I'm not going to do one in the summer. I got to heal. It took a month out, from looking at things. I may have got this together. And a very, very cool summer event with special guests. Could be very cool. So I hope to have news in the next week or so about that. I'd be very excited. And that'll be in August. and you're gonna want to come. You're gonna want to come for that. All right, coming back to the show. So there's a story about whether or not you can have these kinds of automatic fees on a check. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you've got you're a party of 6, so it's 18%, right? They add the tip on there automatically. This is about a guy in Georgia who took a photo of his receipt, and the receipt was a sandwich, a burger, 2 sides of fries, and an 18% living wage fee. And what do we think? And what I think is I don't go back to that restaurant. A living wage fee of 18% added to each dine-in check. This fee goes directly to staff payroll and provides a living wage to our team. And that any tips given would be pooled and distributed among the entire team. Not a restaurant I go to. I can't afford your living wage nonsense. I work for my living wage, and then I live within that wage. That wage allows me to come to this restaurant to which you just priced it out of my living wage. So I cannot share my living wage with you. So you will get nothing. Also, I'm not here to pay a living wage to your staff. You can pay a living wage to your staff. Also, what the hell is a living wage? They can't answer that question. They don't care about answering that question. Oh, dear Lord. It's not that I hope the restaurant goes out of business. Excuse me, didn't mean to cough on you there. It's not that I hope it. It's just that I have to assume that that's exactly what they're going to do. Oh, we've got the Friday audio dump coming up. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take the break, right? We're into the radio break. You guys know we do the radio show along with this, right? We're going to take the radio break, and then we're going to come back. If I've got any more on the on the rumors, I'll tell you. I'll reach out. I don't think he'll get back to me, but I'll reach out. And we'll see regarding the FBI and the DOJ and the fight alleged between Dan Bongino, the deputy director, and Pam Bondi. And then I've got, as I said, madness in the Friday audio dump, just absolute madness. I am going to send you, producer Landon, some audio. I can't do it here. But I want you to punch it up. I want, and then send it back to me, and I'll play it from here. So kick back, relax, smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in a few, guys. Look at that. Look at that guy. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like me, does it? Right. I should do the whole Billy Mays thing. Solid. We'll be right back, guys. All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Guys, welcome back. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I thank you, producer Landon, getting that audio all set and squared away. I have got so much audio. So much. It's nutty. Silly nutty. So I have nothing more on the rumor regarding Bongino taking the day off because he is so disgusted by what has happened with the Epstein files. I have no idea. I would argue some part of it is accurate, that there was a conversation between him and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, that probably didn't go well. And if indeed he walks because of Epstein, it's going to look bad for all those people who said, oh, the Epstein stuff doesn't matter, which was one of the weirdest things I have seen the right do since they decided to say, oh, you can't vote for Trump. He's not a real conservative. What the heck? All right, let's start the show. It is very rare that I say to you, hey, what do you think of this statement by Michelle Obama? Right? That's weird.
F these people.
That's probably what you'd say. Michelle Obama. I'm not interested in anything Michelle Obama has to say.
I hate old white men.
I just don't care at all. Trust me, I wouldn't bring it up if there wasn't a reason. I come prepared, kids, always. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669, 833. Got Tony. It started as a story over there at PJ Media. Matt Margolis with the story. I like Matt a lot. And the headline of the story is this the most disgusting thing Michelle Obama has ever said? And I said, all right there, Matt Margolis, you clickbaited me. Now I got to find out. What is it that Michelle Obama, former First Lady of the United States, had to say? Well, if we were to just go through our heads of things that have been said by the former First Lady, it's very obvious that she is not so much a great big fan of, see, I don't want to say America, but really she's not a fan of the life she's lived. This incredible, surreal life that she lived, where she was First Lady, where she actually had a voice. You don't have to like Barack Obama. I certainly didn't as president. I didn't like him as a person, but he was popular. She was more popular. I mean, crazy, stupid popular. Way more popular than him. And she wasted that. And a lot of the wasting of that came from the constant refrain that somehow she was miserable. The country this and her life that, and it became this constant refrain. This constant refrain of just being miserable, like somehow you've been dealt a bad hand. And sorry, I'm not buying that. I'm not gonna say that you don't have challenges. Like we all have challenges. I'm simply going to say, if you, Michelle Obama, think you have a bad hand, you have never once played poker. You just haven't. You were born with incredible opportunity, as all Americans are, and then through how your life developed, you got the royal flush. The flop came and you had the nuts. It's just an unbelievable thing to witness. She doesn't seem happy with it at any time. She's got this podcast she does with her, I think it's her brother, and the podcast is terrible. For somebody with all of her fame, the podcast is not a winner by any stretch of the imagination. Certainly not what she thought. And in the conversation as it was presented, she is stating that her definition of freedom isn't about empowering families, but rather about something else. And she said in the podcast, I guess it is, said in the podcast that she now feels completely free. As we get older, we should embrace the fact that we have more time. We aren't parenting our kids anymore. They're parenting us. We're not worrying about whether they get home on time or whether they did their homework. And she continued by saying, I mean, this stage in life for me personally, is the first time I've been completely free, where every choice that I make is in my life is not about my husband, not about his career, not about what my kids need or where they're going. It's totally about me. And I stared at that and I said, is this disgusting? If we take a look at how she gets to these kinds of formulations and other things that she has said, yeah, it sounds very dismissive. Finally, I don't have to care about those people who have been weighing me down all these years. Right? That's how she goes about everything. Oh, the White House weighed her down. Oh, the kids weighed me down. Finally. That's a lot different than, you know what? I raised my children. I'll always be mom. My husband has had the most amazing career in the world. There are some unique opportunities here for me to engage the way I want to engage and maybe try something different because I do have more time. Yeah, I think it is a question of how you present that. I take a look at my life and I take a look at my kids getting older, getting out of the house, living their lives. I never once thought, well, my days as a father are done. I've actually never had that thought ever. But there's no doubt that I've had conversations with my wife about, okay, this part of our life is coming to a close, and we're now getting into this part of our life. How do you want that to go? I don't know if other couples do that. I did that because certainly, if we're talking about more traditional roles, if women as mom, as caretaker in that way, when the kids are out of the house, there's a lot more time, and how do you deal with that time? And there's a real question of adjustment there. I don't think that should be kind of like brushed aside. We started talking about it early. What do you want that life to be like? Never once in all the conversations, right? Me, I have this gig. And my kids go off to school, my kids go off to jobs, my kids go off to their life. On a Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I'm going to have this microphone and be engaged in this. So you should be aware of that. So what kind of life do you want to have? Never once did that involve thinking I'm no longer a parent, and never once did it involve resentment. Never once did we say, oh, finally done with that crap. That whole raising kids thing and teaching them right for wrong and those great family celebrations and all the laughter and joy. Whew, glad I don't have to deal with that you know what anymore. Oh, that was just a giant pain in the ass. Now, maybe She just doesn't know how to say it. Maybe this is exactly who she is. I don't think it is the ugliest thing said until she said, quote, it's like, this is when we start living, ladies. This is the age when we're free. Okay. That's disgusting. Your life with your husband, your life with your children, your life as a family, that was a prison? Good God. Is this a Michelle Obama thing, or is this a liberal women thing, or is this a bigger thought that I know about? And there are women who feel this way. Are there men who feel this way? And if you feel this way, God, are you doing it wrong? And this becomes a conversation not about Michelle Obama, but about, is this how people view their family? It's a prison? They're finally out of the house? I mean, there's the joke that you take the bedroom and you turn it into a whatever. Sure. But God, now you're free? Okay. That's ugly. No way to think about family. But it was an interesting question. I thought it was an interesting back and forth there and how people reacted to it without ever asking themselves, there are changes in your life and they should be embraced. But the idea that somehow the parenting stops, you stop being that person in their life? No. Now, maybe I don't give as much advice as I used to, but you don't stop being that person. And do you want to stop being that person? You took on this responsibility when you decide to have kids. You know how long that lasts? Forever. The rules may change a little, but the job, not necessarily. They parent you. There may be time you need your kids' help. You're older, etc., but I don't want my kids to parent me. My kids are parenting me. Well, that's failure, isn't it? At least I view it as failure. There is a conversation here I have to dig more into. But good God, now you're free? That's nuts. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back. Welcome back. I see I'm doing things in between. I don't realize we're back already. So my fault. Yeah, I didn't know how people were going to take a Michelle Obama conversation. Like that's not the everyday. But man, I just thought that was, the more you read into it, the more like, man, she's terrible. She does seem terrible. All right, that's there. That's good. And we are going to get to the audio dump. Well, people in the comments have lots of things to say, producer Landon. So, all right, we're coming back to the show in a minute. Let me see what else, if I had to grab anything else for you really quick. Yeah, it just seems like a loosey-goosey day. I hope that's all right. Right, there's that. 30 seconds. Got it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know, it's funny. I thought it was on Newsmax today, but I don't think I am. See, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm having a whole weird kind of thing going on. And for the record, sober. Sober. All right, we'll just leave this be. Let's get back to it, guys. Glad you're here. Let's go do cool stuff. So much happening. So much going on. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Can't keep up with everything. And there was a ton of audio just today that I didn't get to. And that's why on Friday, I bring you to the audio dump.
On this Feel Good Friday,
it's now time for a Tony Katz audio dump.
Yes! Yes!
do you hear yourself?
Stay calm! Everybody calm down!
Oh my God, this is so awesome.
Pocahontas says yes.
She always does. She always does. I have a lot here. A tremendous amount to get to. I start where I start with I think I may have shared this. Oh no, this was just today. Cory Booker, Spartacus being all super brave.
What do you say to people? What is your message to whistleblowers or people whose stories are so important to tell about why they should do it now and what impact it could have?
You know, stand up and fight. We celebrate those heroes, whether it's Ruby Bridges or people in the civil rights movement who stood before Bull Connor. We are a nation that is where it is because of the courage of people to stand when it was not convenient to do so, to stand when
the senator from New Jersey is right. You should always stand up to bigoted Democrats. Thank you. But no, that's not what he meant. Okay, continue.
Stakes were high. This is a moment in American history where people are going to know, where did you stand? And so I'm going to continue to fight. I don't care if this president calls me out every day, tweets me, threatens me. We know I've had open conversations with senators I never thought I would have because we saw what they've done with a congressperson, my congresswoman, Monica MacGyver, arresting her. My mayor, they've arrested. They're picking off, it seems, people that live in Newark that are in elected positions. But I don't care. Throw me in jail. Do what you have to do.
No one's going to throw you in jail. What are you talking about? Throw you in jail. Look at me. I'm so brave. You can even mean tweet me. I'm so brave. My God. You are just so remarkably self-centered. Senator Alex Padilla charged a member of the cabinet. He didn't go to jail. No one, you absolute egomaniac, is sending you to jail. Just absolutely, positively ridiculous. That was one. Oh, don't worry, I've got more right here. Here, for example, is Dr. Marty Makary explaining the truth about vaccines and our faith.
And our job at the FDA is, and this is a charge by Congress, is to look at applications that are submitted to us and determine what is safe and effective. And so that is what we are committed to. I think there was some lost trust in the FDA when there was a new policy that basically said for a young, healthy 15-year-old boy, we were going to rubber stamp a COVID vaccine without a clinical trial every year in perpetuity, and the kid must get it. And I think we're saying we're going to be less absolutist when there's no evidence. I think the most dangerous thing you can do in public health is to demand something of a young, healthy individual when the evidence is just not that supportive for a new virus that creates a new protein and a new vaccine that creates a new protein where we haven't had a clinical trial in over 4 years. And those results in children were mixed back 4 years ago.
Well, 100%. But the idea that the trust is lost when you said not only should you vaccinate your kid, which you shouldn't, you have to. It's the force. And I love this honesty that we're getting on this subject. Very important. But this from Ketanji Brown Jackson, speaking in my beloved Indianapolis.
On the majority side and on the minority side is responsible for making the assignments. So, in a case that we have a lot of unanimity, actually, in a lot of our cases, but in a split decision, let's say it's a 6-3 decision with, me, Justice Sotomayor, and Justice Kagan in the minority, Justice Sotomayor will decide who's going to write the dissent, the principal dissent. Sometimes she will assign one to me. It just depends on the way in which the case is.
Well, that's interesting, right? How that happens. But now let's talk about the dissents you write.
Where I will say, forgive me, Justice Sotomayor, but I need to write on this case. And it's because I feel like I might have something to offer and something to add, and I'm not afraid to use my voice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all you need to hear. Hear it again for the first time.
Even after the principal dissent is written, I have a slightly different perspective or a different take on something, or this is an issue of particular importance to me for whatever reason, where I will say, forgive me, Justice Sotomayor, but I need to write on this case. And it's because I feel like I might have something to offer and something to add, and I'm not afraid to use my voice.
Now, I don't know what the hell those people are applauding. That is a sitting Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, saying out loud, I cannot control my emotions. My emotions rule everything I do. And my emotions are so important that at times I must share them with you and with the world and explain to the court why they don't understand my feelings. Ketanji Brown Jackson is not good enough for the bench. I may disagree with Kagan. I may really disagree with Sotomayor. But what she just said is everything the bench shouldn't be. And I honestly don't know how long this can last. I'll explain more in the future. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. I didn't realize we were so out of time. Dang. I'm going to have to hit more of this on Monday. All right. You guys, I love you, but I got to run. I got to run from the live stream. The show continues. You can listen to it on the stream at WIBC.com, and you should do that and go check it out. And also coming up I spoke with Griff Jenkins of Fox News. We went a long time. We spoke earlier today. And then after about 30 minutes, I was like, okay, I got to start putting this into the show. So I've got that whole interview with him about what's going on at the border, what's going on with these attacks on federal immigration officers to share with you. So you can catch that at WIBC.com. And of course, the podcast, wherever it is you get your podcast, you should be subscribing to Tony Katz Today. I appreciate it if you would. I can't thank you guys enough for being here and being a part of this as we grow this and build this. It's been great. And yes, this is it. This is the end of this setup right here. The whole thing shifts over the weekend, and you will get a full view of the studio that was built, the cigar smoking lounge studio. Naming rights now available. Thank you very much. With that, guys, I appreciate you greatly. Don't forget to go to TonyKatz.com, see everything going on, everything that's happening over there. And thanks. Truly. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will catch you on Monday. Take care, guys.